1 month, 20 wrestlers, 19 shows. The G1 Climax starts now. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first of hopefully many New Japan vids here on The Selling Point. And we are kicking off with possibly the best event of the New Japan calendar, the G1 Climax. It is a hot day here in southern England, so I apologise if I sweat a lot during the video. I think it's near 30 degrees Celsius today. I was tempted to do the video topless, but I thought I'd save that for the final. Day one comes from the Hokkaido Prefectural Sports Centre, and it's all A block tonight. I believe it was a sellout tonight. Attendance over 5,500 people tonight. I will just say I'm only going to be covering the tournament matches for the G1 just because the sheer number of matches, it would take ages to go through the undercard every day as well. However, if there is a really good undercard match, I'll probably talk about it in the next day's video. And I'll definitely be covering the undercard matches on the final day for sure, maybe even the whole final weekend. Also, I'll just quickly say I made predictions through the Voices of Wrestling Pick'ems, and I've got them up here on the screen, so I'll be going through those at the same time as going through the matches, telling you what I had predicted and stuff like that. Anyway, let's start with the first contest on what was an amazing show. I've rated 3 matches at 4 stars or more on the opening day, which is quite crazy. The first match was Hiroshi Tenzan versus Tomohiro Ishii. And this match had an incredible sequence where there were 2 headbutts by Tenzan. One was just coming off the ropes and a diving headbutt, and then he did it from the top rope as well, one after the other, rather like Honma. And he followed that up by an Anaconda Vice, and then he picked up Ishii and slammed him in the hold. It's called the Anaconda Buster. It's just an incredible sequence. You need to watch that. And then they had a headbutt exchange. It didn't take long for Ishii and Tenzan to get into our first real headbutt exchange of the G1. And there were a ton of Mongolian chops from Tenzan in this match. I've never seen so many. Anyway, eventually the match carries on and Tenzan hits the TTD, the Tenzan Tombstone Driver. And I was shocked that Ishii kicked out. I really bought the near fall. I thought Tenzan had won it there and then. But then he followed that up by a moonsault, which I think we rarely see in New Japan. I can't remember the last time I saw it. And he picked up the win and the 2 points in what was an amazing opening match. 4 stars I gave it. A real must-see match. And it was a lot of emotion to it as well, because Kojima was out at ringside with Tenzan for the whole match. And it really looked like Tenzan put his all into the match. I know some people have a theory that Tenzan could do really well in this tournament, with it being his last G1. If you're not aware, by the way, just before the G1 at the Kazuna Road shows, one of the Kazuna Road shows, Satoshi Kojima basically handed his spot to Tenzan. They're really good friends as a sign of respect, and also realizing that Tenzan was coming to the end of his career in New Japan, possibly. So there's a lot of emotion in this opening match, and if Tenzan doesn't get a long, an amazing run in the tournament, which I don't think I have him. I'll just quickly check, but I think I had Tenzan on. I have Tenzan on 8 points by the end of the tournament, so I have him like around 0.500, like an equal number of wins and losses. But if he doesn't have that great run in the tournament, I think this was the match where he he's really shown everything that he has to offer. I can't recommend it enough. It's the best opening match I've seen for a wrestling show in maybe a year. It's really that good. Then this was followed up by, so Tenzan won there, by the way, he got the 2 points. That was followed up by Togi Makabe versus Tama Tonga. First of all, I wanted to ask if anyone knows where you can find Tama Tonga's theme, because I have been looking for that for about 2 months now. I really dig it. It's the really low, bassy sort of theme, but it's not on YouTube, it's not on iTunes as far as I can tell. I'll be interested if anyone knows where I can find that. Maybe I'll need to reach out to the man himself. On that subject as well, Tonga had some pretty questionable ring gear, which you'll probably see going around on Twitter. It's kind of like a leopard. I guess he was meant to be like dressing up almost like a leopard in his ring gear. So yeah, an interesting like codpiece to his wrestling tights. Anyway, this match was fairly poor and relatively short, to be honest. The finish came when the two struggled for about half a minute up on the top rope in the corner. There was a lot of back and forth elbows and thumps. Elbows from Tonga and thumping from Makabe from behind. And then Makabe eventually belly to belly, I guess it was a belly to belly suplex. He took Tonga off the top rope and slammed him down on the mat. He held on by his calves and pulled himself back up, Makabe did. And he hit the King Kong knee drop for the win. And he picks up the 2 points. But it was I wouldn't say it was a disappointing match. I had kind of low expectations for it. But it was definitely the poorest match on the card of the tournament matches, and probably one of the worst of the matches we'll get this in the tournament this year. So I rated it about 2.25 stars. It's easily skippable, to be honest. And then we had Hiroki Goto versus Bad Luck Fale. Fale, at the end of his entrance, he shoved I don't know his name, but he shoved the announcer, New Japan announcer, to the ground in a real dick move. But I mean, he's been doing things like that for a while, so I'm kind of used to it by now. Anyway, Fale went for the Bad Luck Fall in the second half of the match, which is, if you don't know New Japan, it's a throwing crucifix powerbomb. It's basically like the razor's edge. Goto reversed it though, and then he locked on a sleeper hold and wrapped his legs around Fale like a body scissors, and then he managed to pull Fale down and he hit the GTR for the win. GTR is basically like a lariat, a standing lariat, pushing the opponent down into a backbreaker. Goto picked up the win and 2 points. And I gave that match 3 stars. It was just a solid, decent G1 match. I expect we'll get a lot of these from Fale, to be honest. And I have Fale finishing with, I think, 10 points in the block. 10 to 12 points. So I'm expecting him to do fairly well, but he picks up the loss here. And I predicted that though. I predicted a Goto win. And then we move on to the co-main event and what I thought was probably the match of the night. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Sanada from Los Ingobernables de Japón. Early on, Sanada made an effort to wear down the recently injured left shoulder of Tanahashi, and I thought that was really good sort of storytelling. Eventually, Tanahashi hit what was like a second rope senton, and as Sanada escaped to the outside, he then hit a high fly flow, which, if you're not familiar with New Japan, is like a frog splash to Sanada on the outside. And then Tanahashi retaliated against the earlier limb targeting from Sanada against his shoulder, and he hit dragon screws, like leg whips, and kicks to Sanada's left leg, and then he locked on the Texas Cloverleaf to try and get the win. Sanada escaped. I think he grabbed the ropes, and then Sanada got Tanahashi in the fireman's carry cutter. and then he followed it up with Skull End, which if you've never seen that before, it's like a dragon sleeper with a body scissors. So it's a really good looking submission move. It reminds me of Taz with his Taz mission, like an endgame submission. But Tanahashi escaped that, and then he went for the high fly flow again, and it was in a brilliant move. It was countered into the ka by Sanada. Sanada hits the moonsault, goes for the pin, not successful, near full, and he goes straight for another moonsault, lands it, again not successful, and then he locks in a second Skull End, and he actually made Tanahashi tap in probably the first, I would say, upset of the tournament. And yes, so Sanada wins and picks up the 2 points early on. And there was fantastic selling of the shoulder and knee injuries by both men, the damage. Not so much injuries, but damage by both men. But yeah, match of the night for me. I gave this 4.25 stars. It's a must-see match. It was amazing. Really showed off Sanada to his best as well. I'm looking forward to his match in the tournament. I'm excited. I'm excited for all of the G1 to be honest, but there are so many opportunities for a few guys in this tournament. It's going to be interesting. And then the main event, I know some people have rated this even better than that match, Tanahashi Sanada. The main event was IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada taking on Naomichi Marufuji of Pro Wrestling Noah, and also one half of the GHC Tag Team Champions at the moment with Toru Yano. I'm going to start by saying I'm not, and I will probably repeat this on Friday for day 2 with Nakajima, but I'm not familiar with the Pro Wrestling Noah wrestlers as such. I've seen highlights and videos of their moves and stuff, but I'm not going to pretend that I know a lot about them. So I will be seeing this from them with fresh eyes, basically. Anyway, this match got off to a very fast start, with the opening sequence ending with Marufuji swinging for Okada's head with some beautiful kicks, well, attempted kicks. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Marufuji after seeing some of the crazy sort of heel kicks and roundhouse kicks he has. But then Marufuji targeted, after that was unsuccessful, he targeted Okada's right arm early on with a double knee drop. Basically, Okada was reaching for the ropes. He was holding onto the top rope, and Marufuji jumped off the top rope with both knees straight down on the elbow. And Okada, bless him, looked like he was in an agony after that. And then he took it to the outside with Okada. He shoved him arm first into the steel post, and then he put Okada's wrist between the gate and the latch, and he was pulling that thing tight, and Okada was screaming. I've never seen Okada look like he's in so much pain. But Okada eventually got back into it, and he hit an elbow drop at the start of what was, I think, probably the sequence of the night. And I expect this to be shared around on all the social medias. This an amazing sequence here. Okada went for the elbow drop, landed it, but then he went for a signal for the Rainmaker, had it reversed. Marufuji went for what I believe is called the Shiranui. Apologies, all you Pro Wrestling Noah viewers, if you're watching and you know I've fucked up there. But I guess in America we call it sliced bread number 2. He teased it probably, I think, once before that point as well. But anyway, that was reversed, and then Okada went for the tombstone, and that was reversed. Okada then hit a German suplex, and then he looked like I think he was going to go for another Rainmaker, and then Marufuji hit the most brutal reverse roundhouse kick I have ever seen. It landed like square in Okada's face. The impact was crazy. And then Marufuji hit again. I don't know how it's said, but I believe it's called the Koa, the bicycle high knee. And then a modified Emerald Flosion, which is a fisherman's sit outside power slam. Yeah, that whole sequence was fantastic. Just the counter after counter. Just amazing, and really shows off the talents of these these wrestlers in New Japan and Noah. Amazing. And again, a huge upset earlier on in the tournament. Marufuji wins, picks up the 2 points. I gave the match 4 stars. I did rate it slightly lower than the previous match. That was purely because I guess Okada, I didn't really see enough of Okada's offense in the first half for it to feel balanced. In some ways it did feel like it was Marufuji's for most of the match to win. Interesting note though, I checked up afterwards, and New Japan ran a similar story with the 2012 G1, which is the other G1 that Marufuji's been a part of. He beat who was then heavyweight champion Tanahashi in, I believe, the opening block match, just like this. And then he lost his title shot at Destruction in September. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens again, the exact same thing. New Japan do sometimes like, I think, with these tournaments to make us believe the dark horses or the underdogs are going to do much better than we think they're going to do at the start, by giving them some early upset wins. We'll see what happens. Thanks to, you probably know him if you follow New Japan a lot, Ikioid on Twitter. Thanks for the translations from him. I can tell you that Marufuji afterwards said that if we didn't already, we'd know his name by the end of the summer in the post-match promo. And then afterwards, they do like the backstage interviews with the press. He also said he wondered how a rematch would go. So that suggests that we might get potentially Okada versus Marufuji for the IWGP title, possibly even at a Pro Wrestling Noah show, which would be very interesting. Liger, who was on commentary for the tournament matches today, he said he was very thankful for the match, but he was also, he seemed to suggest the fact that because they're from different promotions, that shouldn't matter. He kept complaining about them talking about IWGP before anything else in the interviews. And he said we should just focus on what a great match they both put on, and this, like, regardless of promotion, these are two of the greatest wrestlers in the world, he was suggesting. Anyway, yeah, I thought that was an amazing show. I would consider them upsets. As a show, for the tournament matches alone, I must stress, I would probably rate that an A-. I thought it was amazing. Apart from the Tonga versus Makabe match, which kind of let it down a bit, it was phenomenal, amazing for an opening night. I think that was better than, off the top of my head, I can't remember last year's opening night, but I don't remember being as hyped afterwards as I was today. Just going back to, I'll have a look at my predictions now and see. I believe I am 2 for 5 after the opening night. I had Tonga to beat Makabe, which he did not. I had Goto beating Fale, which he did, and Tenzan beating Ishii, which I also got right. But then I had Okada and Tanahashi to win the 2 last matches. They obviously didn't. So yeah, 2 for 5. Not looking good after just one day of the G1. I will tell you though, in my final stand-ins for the A block, I have it as Okada and Tanahashi. After the first match, after the last match, I have Okada and Tanahashi both at 14 points, so essentially tied after they faced each other on the last night. I'm not going to say who I have winning that last match. I'll keep that till later, but that'll be interesting to see. But I think it is between those two for sure in the A block. Yeah, amazing. If we look ahead to the next video, which will be day 2 on Friday, I think the match I'm definitely going to suggest that you watch out for is Michael Elgin versus Evil. I think that's going to be a really pivotal match. I'd say it's 50-50 down the line who's going to win that. And I was going to say a lot of Elgin's matches are vital to the way that the B block final standings will turn out. When you talk about Elgin versus Shibata, Elgin versus Omega, Elgin versus Naito, I think whether Elgin wins or loses, his effect will have his record against them will have a huge effect on the rest of the standings. I think he's a pivotal player in the B block for sure. And yeah, I guess that's all for this video. I'm not going to be doing a Super J Cup video because of tomorrow's draft. So we're going to be covering that. I know I'll be live tweeting that. We might possibly be live streaming that on YouTube. Wait and see. There's going to be a lot of internet connected devices at one time. I don't know if the connection will hold up to live stream as well, but we'll see. For sure we'll definitely have at least a review up though afterwards. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please share it, and please leave your comments. I'm interested in your predictions as well, if you've done pick'ems as well. And apart from that, peace. I'll see you again on Friday for day 2, B block.